Nigerian, a broadcast network committed to serving you the very best in online and offline television programming. Situated in the serene environment of Guzape, Abuja FCT, TVN, as it is fondly called, caters to a wide variety of audience via carefully orchestrated mind-blowing programs in the areas of fashion, business, politics, entertainment, religion, movies, food and health, culture and lifestyle, events around the globe, sports and foreign news. Whatever your inclination, we've got you completely covered with programs like Issues of the Moment, The Patriot, Daybreak Nigeria, Matter Africa, TVN Business Time, Healthy Living, From the Cradle, Stay Inspired, Entertainment Gist, Movie Hour, Hits Paradise, among others. All designed to keep you thoroughly informed, entertained, at the edge of your seats and yearning for more. A tour around our domain will reveal a highly dedicated staff force and a state-of-the-art facility and equipment for high-definition quality broadcast, making our station your #1 choice in advertising your business and propagating your ideas. We are currently on NightComSat doing our test transmission for takeoff in the nearest future. Television Nigerian is located in Nigeria at Television Nigerian House, Guzape Hilltop Mansion, beside Guzape White House, Guzape Abuja FCT, and in the United Kingdom at 45 Ancient House, 48 Aerodrome Road, Beaufort Park, Colindale, London. For inquiries,
the anti-police brutality protests, popularly tagged EndSARS hashtag in Nigeria, created a powerful movement that appeared to shake those in power. It was a pointed mixture of street protests and social media engagement that gave young Nigerians the voice that shaded the country's culture of difference, neither along party lines nor ethnic affiliations. What began as a protest against the most hated police special anti-robbery squad SARS has become a conduit for the youth to vent their anger with the helm of affairs who have been in charge of Nigeria for many decades and demanding change. But there has also been an ugly side leading to the trashing of the palace of the highly respected Oba of Lagos, without whom the youth dragged his throne around and looted his possessions. The breaking into stores and warehouses of some personal businesses in the name of undistributed palliatives, among many other things, were the height of frustration evident in the protest. The youth were also demanding, among other things, for the increase of police emoluments as part of the police reform. This will be a focus on this episode of The Patriot. Welcome to The Patriot on Television Nigerian, a platform where we discuss critical issues of national importance, begging the question of how much of a country we love. I am Peggy Shanley.
I pledge to Nigeria, my country. So goes the opening lines of the 6-line National Pledge of Nigeria. Today, not a few, whether young or old, merely recite the National Pledge as a matter of routine or tradition, with their hearts being poles apart from the very spirit, creed, and essence of the pledge. Many simply do not understand its purport or feel the import of it, while many others choose to observe the pledge in breach only. Today we have decided to walk on the footpath of the very words of the National Pledge, keeping its vision and essence in our hearts, in our souls, and in our minds.
I pledge Nigeria, my country,
to be faithful,
loyal, and honest,
to serve Nigeria with all my strength,
to defend her unity,
and uphold her honor and glory.
So help me God. Nigeria, no doubt, will truly be the giant of Africa, developed and well rated in all indices, if her national pledge is treated with sacred obedience. It's on us, it's our duty and responsibility to make this country a better place. Let's live the pledge.
Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. This is a Patriot on Television Nigerian, and our guest in the house is Comrade Daniel Atai, the producer of Spectacle Nigeria. I'd like to welcome Mr. Dan to the Patriot.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Dan, let's get talking. Yeah. You know, this EndSARS protest is exactly 1 month today. Yeah. It was 20th of October, and today is 20th of November. And the Lekki shooting was the height of the protest altogether. So, what would you have to say, or what is your reaction, as a matter of fact, surrounding the issues of the protest and everything, you know, and the circumstances surrounding how it started and whatever it is? Is there something you want to say about what the protest was all about?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Peggy Shande, for bringing me on board your program, The Patriot. Yes, to start with, the EndSARS protest initially was a genuine cause for civility to be imbibed in the Nigerian police and the anti-robbery squad department. Not only civility, the respect for human rights and what we call civil right also, to be seen vividly has been carried out by by the SARS, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad unit of the Nigerian Police. Be it as that may be, that was the genuine cause for solidarity or civil action to ensure that those things are seen as a reformation in the police, in the policing of the country. When I mean reformation, there are certain criteria, of course, that were laid down as demands by the protesters, the genuine protesters, for the federal government to carry out as reformation. And the federal government, in reaction or in response, acted swiftly by obliging to carry out the, I think, 5 paramount or criteria issues where the demands were made, the requests were by the EndSARS. The federal government said they will meet up. And I think that is responsive enough of any government. The president went as far as promising them, even in a hasty reaction, while witnessing the protest, said, okay, yeah, They have listened to them in order for hoodlums, charlatans, miscreants, criminals, bandits. Of course, you know what has been happening in the country. In order for them not to hijack the intent of the protests, the federal government reacted and responded immediately, swiftly to their demand and started carrying out those reforms. And I think what triggered the second turnaround of the EndSARS that was clearly seen to have been hijacked is the issue of the metamorphose to SWAT immediately from the Inspector General of Police. And if you ask me, of course, it is the duty of the security architecture, especially those relating with the civil society, that is the police and so on, to have acted that way in order for law and order not to be broken down in the country. Because if you like it or not, in as much as the SARS, of course, had some certain negative element within themselves, yes, and certain operations that are unruly and not also respecting human rights and the civil society, they were actually fighting against armed robbery, kidnapping, and so on. We have records.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
We have records that prove those things, that yes, they were genuinely working. They were working, especially under Abakari, DCP Abakari. We have records of those job well done. That is not to say that the negative aspect of the SARS, that department, are not understood by we Nigerians. We understand that, yes, a kind of serious negative trends of not respecting human rights were actually seen to be happening among the department called SARS, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad unit of the Nigerian Police Force. So, my perspective to this is that while the intention was genuine, the reaction also was responsive and genuine. Now, the provocation of the SWAT made hoodlums to capitalize on the EndSARS protests and hijack them. You could bear witness vividly that some persons who were fingered to be frontiers, though they never said they are the frontiers or the leaders, but who were fingered to be frontiers, they were given statements on Twitter saying that hoodlums have hijacked this thing and therefore they have withdrawn.
Okay. I think we'll get to that.
Yeah,
all right,
so,
thank you.
So in that case, my submission is that whatever is legal may not be right.
Yes.
Not everything that is legal could be right.
Yes.
And not everything that is right could be legal. There should be a summit like the federal government is doing now, yes, across the state, where we can harmonize these differences.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much.
In order to forge ahead.
That's all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Dan. I give you ample time because I want you to nip in the bud the issues that we're going to be discussing here very seriously.
It's okay.
EndSARS protest is a very serious phenomenon.
I know.
It has come to stay, and for whatever purposes to which it was meant for.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we must achieve them. And then you are here to give us enlightenment on those issues.
Yeah.
I asked you that it's 1 month ago when this happened. It's exactly 1 month now. And you have answered again that the reaction of the state on the matter, that it was listened, yes, and it was also hastily responded. While others are saying that the president actually didn't respond quite on time. I don't know if you have to say something about that.
No, the president actually acted swiftly in response to the EndSARS. You see, I am not the type of activist that only paint negative pictures of trends. I want to be analytical enough to balance issues from the standpoint of the masses and that of the government, and what is expected of the government to do, and what is also expected of the masses as citizens to also do. Let me tell us, we are patriotic Nigerians.
Very correct.
Not everybody though could be patriotic, because the tag itself, patriotism, just like your program entails, it's not everybody that understands it, and that blame could be largely be on the side of the government, on the part of the government, and also part of it on the side of the masses. So I will not just, I'm in Nigeria, and I'm a Nigerian, allow my analysis or my bias, my biasness, or my bigotry, or my unpatriotic nature to create chaos in the country. Whether you like it or not, during crisis, be it little or escalated crisis like what the EndSARS was almost going into, a lot of people will lose. Whether directly or indirectly, you will count your losses. You understand? So, for that reason, we should be patriotic enough to analyze issues based on their standing points, so that we will establish an equilibrium where we can forge ahead amicably.
Thank you very much.
So,
I will ask you more questions about the equilibria of the EndSARS protests and stuff like that. But I think I'm trying to understand what you're saying, that it was actually very patriotic of the youth to also have gone to protest in the first place. And it's also very patriotic of the government to have responded.
yeah,
And that's it. So, but I want to go to a very important question.
Okay,
I wanted to, the United Kingdom Parliament has received a petition and signed by over 200,000 Nigerians domiciled in the UK. And they said on Monday they are going to listen to it. And so, what is your reaction to this? How Nigeria will perceive the petition that is written and signed by the same Nigerians who are leaving the United Kingdom? What is your reaction? Do you think the Nigerian government will fidget? Do you think they are worried, or it's no case at all? What?
Well, it is good to sign petitions. It is also everybody's right to protest injustices. But what is not too ideal is to jettison the power of sovereignty and to begin to think that you would want to induce the international community against your nation. However, if what has been postulated by the petitioners are genuine, then I do not see United Kingdom to be the front at the front burner of policing Nigeria as a sovereignty. You understand? Nigeria is a sovereignty. If you say United Nations, I will understand with you, because we are among the League of Nations. But when you say United Kingdom, is it against the... I have not gone through their petitions, but what kind of petition will be signed in the United Kingdom Parliament and not in the Nigerian Parliament or at the United Nations Assembly? That means certain Nigerians, which we need to uncover their identities, because whether you like it or not, we have issues of animosity in the country. And when I mean animosity, I mean ill feelings in certain geographical locations of the country that felt the political power play is not in equity and that they want power rotation, or some segments say they want secession. So because of that ill feelings, those ill feelings could create acrimonies. You understand? And because many of them are in the diaspora, especially in the United Kingdom, of course, they may want to capitalize on what has transpired in the country by the EndSARS protest to begin to perpetrate their original aim of either wanting a breakup in the country or secession, or to enforce or to bring the government to come to term either forcefully, because this is not ideally anymore. You understand? I believe in the power of positive ideological metamorphosis. That is changes.
Yes.
And as an idealist and as an activist, I also believe in juxtaposing side by side whether this thing is necessary, whether the United Kingdom is supposed to be overseeing the affairs of the Nigerian sovereignty, or the United Nations are the one that is empowered to doing so. Even if it's under trade ties or under any United Nations charter that we have affiliation with UK, US, or let me say Europe and America. And you want them to intervene or cut that ties from us, you will be punishing the country if you don't have enough reasons of doing that. Because
the content of the petition that was written is the fact that there are constitutional rights. And I just tried to mention a bit of them so that you can get it, because the Nigerians living in the UK also have a right as Nigerians, except that they're staying in other countries. Of course, in this case, the United Kingdom. And so part of the content of what they are talking about is that how will the government allow someone, I mean, a military, to shoot at protesters when it is a constitutional right? But I wanted to answer this question. I want to answer this question that I'm going to ask you now. Because there's a face-off between CNN versus Nigeria. You remember the last time the government of Nigeria, under the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, actually informed CNN that CNN is actually basing the report on footages on social media. And then the CNN is been busy reporting that they are investigating and they stand on those footages as truth. So there's a face-off between what CNN is reporting and what Lai Mohammed is saying.
If they base their petition on the fact that, or on the allegation that the Nigerian army opened fire at the EndSARS protesters, it would be a genuine cause if that allegation is actually correct. But you see, there is a conflict of interest and a conflict of facts. While the CNN was never on ground during the EndSARS protest, they laid claim to footages and began a Photoshop of investigation where I saw where they gathered some ammunitions to have come from Serbia, manufactured in 2005, as those that were used against the EndSARS protesters. But Nigerian government could as well, I want to put it on the table of analytical analysis now. Nigerian government could as well fought that investigation on the ground that the first pixel, that is what we call in graphic pixel, the numerous dot of lightning that could give you a photo or video is called pixel. Now, the first pixel and the camera used in videoing those things did not come from CNN. It came from a third source. And in mass media or in mass communication, analysis of this kind of footages could either be false news or genuine news, depending on the evidence gathered. The evidence that CNN have so far is not substantiated enough to indict the Nigerian army that, of course, they shot. I wasn't there in Lekki. You weren't there. But if CNN wanted to rescue us out of this doubt, because there is a doubt, yes, those that have animosity will accept that, yes, CNN have done a very great job. But on the analytical part of what actually happens, based on the fact presented by CNN, as a graphic expert, as a computer expert, as an ICT expert, I could tell you that I can as well put those kind of videos together, known as Photoshops.
Okay, so we're going to...
However,
we're going to take a look at the future.
yes, I have looked at it several times, and I fought on my own. I fought CNN. Yes, somebody sent the video to them. Somebody who claimed to be on ground there. It is sad that it is alleged that a protester was shot or protesters were killed. Very, very sad. If that actually happened. But I will not base my analysis on assumption. Neither will I base my analysis on presumption. I will base my analysis on the factual evidence of the trends, the events that transpired. And so, I sit down here under this your question to tell you that if actually the military opened fire on the protesters demanding for police reform, it is sardonic, it is barbaric, it is inhuman, it is against civil and human rights.
That's very correct. So that we can take
on
a break.
The other hand,
so that we can continue after the break. Because of time, we want to work on, so that I want you to continue with this.
No, let me hit a nail.
All right.
On the other hand, if people with acrimonious tendencies and animosious tendencies, like I said, ill feelings, segregations, agitations, and so on that is going on in the country could make people come together to just create chaos, to perform some unpatriotic acts that could lead to war, civil unrest, disenfranchisement, and so on. I will not succumb to that.
That's correct.
I'm a political activist. I'm a media consultant. I know how to present, I know how to demand things from the government that are not right. I will not, for instance, if I'm the Nigerian army or the Nigerian police, do you expect people who are protesting genuinely to rob people's shops?
No.
And will you allow that? As a policeman, will you allow, let's say as a man in charge of law enforcement and order, if people are protesting burning police station or burning, people's properties, would you call that a protest again? So if you are a patriotic Nigerian and you are good, my state, Benue, I am being owed salaries to the tune of 5.4 million and severance. And I have been protesting legally. I have brought protests to Abuja. The government didn't listen to me. I have written to ICPC as a chairman of the former councillors forum. I have written to several places, even EFCC, it fell on deaf ears. I went to, I wrote to Serap and so on. Yeah. Everything fell on deaf ears. There is nothing. So me and my associations, we have the potentialities to go on street to cause mayhem. We can even go to break down the state government house.
Just to get your 5.1.
Just to get we are 276 in number. With supervisory councillors, 115.
Yes.
With 23 vice chairmen.
Yes. So you want
the governor of our state.
You want to go for a protest now?
We have been doing the protest, but what I'm trying to put before you is to juxtapose between the protest of creating mayhem and the genuine legal protest.
Protest of getting demands from
government.
So we're going to take a short break right now. All right. We'll go on a very short break and take a look at some of the footages during the protest, please.
They were told to get off the streets. They were told to stay at home by the authorities. But the anger and frustration felt by many in Nigeria has spilled into the city of Lagos. It's been building over the course of the past 2 weeks. A protest against an unpopular police unit has turned into something else, a challenge to the government's ability to rule.
This is unnecessary.
And today, in Africa's biggest city, buildings were torched, a bus depot burnt, and a TV station attacked by agitators, forcing the staff to flee.
They started attacking us inside the studio. I had to cut off the show, and we couldn't go. We can't continue the show right now. I don't even know what to do. Okay.
A strict curfew was introduced by the state government, but the security services have struggled to enforce it. We spoke to a resident of an inner city suburb.
The streets are littered with burnt tires all over, just to hinder the military from free patrol.
What has it been like?
A couple of Nigerian youths are in the hospital currently in pains, suffering from results of straight bullets shot directly to unarmed protesters.
This city-wide uprising was triggered by a military-style assault on demonstrators at their central meeting point at a toll gate in the city. Members of the security services tried to clear it using live rounds.
Sit down, sit down!
Amnesty International says it has credible evidence of fatalities at the scene. However, the state governor, who visited some of the 30 or so thought injured, has disputed that.
We are comforted that we have not recorded any fatality as against the widespread circulation on social media.
Youthful demonstrators have been calling for the disbandment of the police's much-despised Special Anti-Robbery Squad, or SARS, and the shooting of protesters has drawn intense worldwide condemnation.
I'm not the kind of guy that talks about politics, but I can't keep quiet anymore for what is going on back home in Nigeria. I would say, Nigerian government, you guys are a shame to the world.
Protesters have returned to the Lekki tollgate in Lagos. It's become a symbol of their movement and the sacrifices they have made. John Sparks, Sky News.
Welcome back and thanks for joining us again. This is the Patriot on Television Nigerian, and we have been talking with Mr. Dan Atai. Mr. Dan Atai,
yeah,
you have given us very beautiful analysis here, I must say.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, you are very well equipped with vocabulary that expresses exactly what it is, the equilibrium and the equity, and it is, you know, we appreciate your analysis so much.
Thank you.
All right, so can you just throw a little more light on, we have just a few minutes to round up this program,
yeah,
and we just need to be very brief. When you say hijack, what exactly are you saying? Hijack of the protest?
Okay, let me give
what
you
are the
analogy of what transpired in Benue. When we're demanding for our money, we wrote to the IGP, to the DGSS, we wrote even to the state governor, to the Bureau for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, 2019 precisely, June. And since then we've been writing, even up to this moment we are still writing. It is not as if we cannot pick up arms and cause chaos, which is most time and oftentimes the language that the government like to listen to or like to respond to. You know, the government at the various state levels, they like pushing people to the wall. This thing I'm telling you, people have been dying out of it. This indebtedness from a state that is supposed to be taking care of her citizens and indigenous.
That's very correct.
People are dying for lack of salary. People are dying because hunger. Their children are being sent away from school. Hospital bills you cannot cater for. And you see, people at the level of subsistence farming cannot cater.
So the hijacking.
So I'm coming to that. So is enough pain for some of us to have reacted. We have lost, personally I've lost many things. I've lost many things because of lack of fund. And where you put your resources before, hoping that when it comes out, you'll be able to stand on your own as an entrepreneur so that you don't depend on the government or wait for anything. That source has been stolen away from you. So it's enough pain for you to even cause chaos. But even at that, because of patriotism, we never went haywire. We stayed calm. We are still following protocol. We are still following legality. Now, those who are aggrieved with either the government at the central or the government at state levels could hijack a genuine protest and cause chaos and create unrest, perpetrate mayhem like the criminalities you saw. Yes, we know that discovering the various warehouses where the palliatives were kept is good. And demanding that the palliatives should be shared is also good. But you see, because of hunger,
they broke it and took it away.
People couldn't wait anymore.
Yeah, because
they broke it. Maybe what is meant for the entire state, only few persons.
Because of hunger.
Because of hunger, hijacked, broken, and theft were recorded across the nation.
So were they the palliative places only?
Not only the
personal
properties, like even in Apo here, before my very eyes, I saw the way hoodlums attack everywhere, even burnt down somebody's motor car mat.
We saw the clip there.
This one you saw clip. I'm living at Apo. I saw it with my eyes.
Innocent cars.
Somebody who is doing his legitimate business. And you know what some of these aggrieved personalities tagged it? They said it's a crisis between Hausa and Igbos. It was never. This is people that hijack EndSARS and are trying to become rich overnight.
So it is possible that it can be hijacking.
It is possible for people to even sponsor hoodlums into it.
For the sinister reasons.
Yes. So that is why when you want to carry out protests of such magnitude, you ensure that the police or the Nigerian civil defense must be with. They must guide you. They must lead you. It is our right to protest injustices.
Okay, so
it is also our right for them to be with us. We were also demanding for the police reformation and also their benefit.
That is the question I
we
want to
also
ask
discovered that the police are not well paid.
And that is the question I want to ask you now.
You cannot give a hungry man a gun to guide somebody who is eating well.
I want to ask you this question very importantly, because you say that the protesters were also making demands in favor of the police.
Yes, the genuine protesters.
Yes, for the emoluments.
Yes.
So that the police will concentrate and do their job.
Yes, I have criticized many times on my program that the police are underpaid. The Nigerian armies are underpaid. I can't, for God's sake, no, I'm coming.
No, the controversy between running down the stations at the same time,
demanding for their welfare, for their emolument. You see the contradiction. Now, that means that I am right by saying that sponsors, you know, is it this man that coached Bruce Lee, that famous kung fu fighter? One of his teachers was teaching him something during attack and suppression of their clan. And he said to Bob Marley, he said, to Bruce Lee, he said the real enemy usually hides behind an image and then appears like a shadow. But what you would do if you are fighting maybe with your eyes closed, try to break the image and the shadow will disappear. So what does that entail? It entails that people who are not happy with the administration of President Muhammad Buhari or the administration of the political party APC or the administration of a particular governor could also, I am not justifying that the government have done so credibly well in all ramifications, but I'm talking patriotism. I am also trying to balance the analysis. Could sponsor hoodlums.
Yes. Okay.
The rate of hunger now. The rate of hunger now.
Yes.
If you give somebody just 50,000 to commit murder, the person will do it.
Because hungry is not.
Because an idle man is the devil's workshop. And in Nigeria, we have more than 50 million idle people.
Because 42% of the population of the 200 million population of Nigeria are youth. And they are unengaged.
We have,
I said one more question.
We have more than 50 million idle people, if not more than.
According to the statistics, 42% of the Nigerian population are idle youth. All right, I'm going to ask you one more question, and then that's where we'll wrap it up. Okay. Yeah, beautiful. You talked about the police who should be protecting protesters because it is the constitutional right of the citizens to actually protest.
Yes.
And the police
amidst security
guard, yes, within the years. And so at the same time, now it looks as if there's a clamp down on protesters. And accounts been frozen, arrests of some notable names of those protesters, and and there's a panel also set to mediate peace. What exactly are we going to say? Is this a double standard at the same time? Now, protesters have a right to protest. The police actually should protect them. And now it looks as if the panel that is set to mediate peace, they are still clamping down on protesters, freezing their accounts, and some of them getting asylum to Canada and other places. I mean, don't you think this is it's controversial? Is there anything you have to say?
There is nothing controversial about that.
At the same time, clamping down at the same time.
There should be panel of peace. Yeah. And there should be clamp down on sponsors of terror. or sponsors of chaos. Because some policemen died too. They are humans. Some protesters died too. They are also humans. There is no government that is responsible for the safety of life and properties that will fold its hands and see death being recorded, littered, as a result of hoodlums or miscreants. While civil unrest could be proper, civil miscreancy will never be tolerated. When I mean civil unrest, it is not for destruction. You can protest, sing solidarity protest to various ministries, department, agencies. We are not living here today until you answer us. That is like civil unrest. You are making a demand. But when I pick stone, you are not listening to me, just like I said, our demands have not been met in Benue State by the governor. And we start stoning the governor or stoning the government house or burning down the bureau. That is civil miscreancy. It's an act of terrorism. You understand? And it should not be condoned by patriotic citizens. Let me tell you, the government might not respect our citizenship. The government might not or might have failed to provide to meet up all our needs as citizens. Yes. Of course, we are suffering in the country. That's right. No doubt. We are suffering in the hands of our government. The Nigerian masses, some of us are the most patriotic citizens I have ever seen in any part of the world. Humane. Because there is no justifiable reason for any government, whether state, local, or federal, to have abandoned her masses. No social security welfare, like we record in Europe and America. To curb all these insecurity problems, it is only one thing. It is not the idea of social investment program, but it is the idea of social security. You are from Kwande local government. You understand? In your local government, are you registered there? Is there any data to justify that you could benefit from your local government as an indigene or a citizen of this country? I'm talking about citizens' rights. Low housing scheme. The Nigerian government, with the billions that we are listening, being expended, being defrauded, being, exchanging hands, can build monumental social security scheme houses, like interim or unemployment benefit for all Nigerian citizens across the 774 local government of this country.
That's right. And so,
why would the central release money to the state governors and not having an evaluating team to monitor whether this money gets to the local government?
And when this is not done, is what leads to protest, because
why, for instance, the protesters,
we have just 1 minute,
they were able to discover warehouses where palliatives were kept. The same governors were insulting the Minister of Humanitarian and Disaster Management, Hajia Umar Farouk, that she did do that she embezzled 600 billion. Only for us to come and uncover that they were given palliative and they hoarded it.
And some of them will get expired.
And they will get expired. Some were even sold in some other states. You can see the blatant wickedness of some state governors.
So do you say that the protest should continue, but in a very civilized way?
In a civilized way. We must demand our right. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So we're going to have just 1 minute to...
When I wrote to the IGP about our protest, they first of all declined. I went to the DGSS. You have to allow us. Because when we don't agree, there will be chaos.
There will be chaos.
You have to allow us to express our dissatisfaction.
I can see the way you are
our displeasure.
I can see the way you are expressing yourself.
You understand?
Right now here.
We have. You see, I'm also very angry.
Yeah.
But I must speak the truth.
We're going to do a second season of this end process, this program again.
Yes.
And then you are also going to.
I was advising the government that to curb the danger of this gunpowder the Nigerian youth are sitting on.
Yes. Obasanjo said that
they should quickly carry out statistics across these 774 local government and begin social security revamping.
Yes.
Social security is quite different from social investment.
Yes, you're very
social security cannot be embezzled. But social investment could be embezzled. If you have data, I have data. I have my citizenship passport. You have your citizenship passport.
The records are there.
Record. I have record in my local government. So the constituency fund that goes to my local government, as an eligible voter, I am above 18 years. Any eligible citizen should benefit from their local government. As soon as we are finishing secondary school, there should be a palliative means, succor, for unemployment benefit for you. First of all, attach you a house.
That is empowerment.
Attach you a house. If two boy and girl want to get married together, they have apartment already, they can get married.
Because you can't marry on credit.
You cannot marry on credit. And so, stipend is coming from the local government at the end of the month.
Yes.
Until you are able to get a job. When you get a job, because you cannot, it is not even legal for you to go to school, graduate and become unemployed. That is injustice on the part of the government.
So they should be able to provide all
that is social security.
We are going to come here again
to do that for the citizens. And it is citizens'
We are
right.
going to make sure that we call you again to discuss citizens' right and prevention of protest.
Prevention of chaos
and crime.
Because if these things are not addressed,
there will be
what may come
is war.
Is going to be very simple.
Thank you very much, Dan. It's been wonderful talking with you right now, but we just need to end this program because it's been interesting having you on the show.
Thank you.
All right. This is the much we have for you on this episode of The Patriot. Until next time, be patriotic. And for equity and fairness, it's important to avoid any system that is unpatriotic, just like Dan has said, to eradicate negative energies. Drop a comment and your views. You can follow us also on social media handles and sponsor programs on The Patriot. I am Peggy Shande, and many thanks for watching.
Thank you.